You have a deadline, your inbox is full. 3 things need your attention at once, and your brain feels like it's wrapped in fog. Not tired exactly, not sick, just slow, cloudy, like thinking through wet concrete. Most people blame the workload. But the workload isn't what's causing the fog. It's what the workload is doing to your hormones, and what those hormones are doing to your brain. Once you understand that connection, the fog starts to make a lot more sense. When your brain perceives a threat, real or imagined, physical or psychological, it activates a system called the HPA axis. That stands for hypothalamic pituitary adrenal. It's your body's central stress response network, and it's been keeping humans alive for hundreds of thousands of years. The HPA axis triggers the release of cortisol from the adrenal glands. In short bursts, cortisol is useful. It sharpens focus, mobilizes energy, and prepares you to respond. This is the version of cortisol that gets you through a presentation or a difficult conversation. The problem starts when the stressor doesn't go away. Modern stress is almost never a single acute event. It's a constant background hum: financial pressure, relationship strain, information overload, professional uncertainty. The kind of stress that doesn't have a clear endpoint. When that happens, the HPA axis stays active. Cortisol levels remain chronically elevated, and a brain that was designed to handle short bursts of cortisol starts operating in a toxic environment. The first thing to go is the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for working memory, decision-making, focus, and what neuroscientists call executive function. Research from Yale University has shown that chronic stress physically impairs prefrontal cortex performance. Synaptic connections weaken. Processing speed slows. The mental clarity you're trying to find becomes structurally harder to access. This is not a motivation problem. It is a neurochemical one. There's a second mechanism that almost nobody talks about: neuroinflammation. Chronic cortisol elevation triggers a low-grade inflammatory response in the brain. Microglia, the brain's immune cells, become activated. Inflammatory cytokines disrupt neurotransmitter production, particularly serotonin and dopamine, both of which play critical roles in mood. Motivation and cognitive clarity. A 2019 review published in Frontiers in Neuroscience found that neuroinflammation consistently impairs hippocampal function, the same memory-critical region we discussed in the previous video, and significantly disrupts the production of BDNF, the growth factor that supports new neural connections. In plain terms, chronic stress inflames your brain, and an inflamed brain thinks slower, forgets faster, and struggles to concentrate. There is also a third pathway, the cortisol-sleep loop. Elevated cortisol disrupts the natural cortisol rhythm your brain depends on. Cortisol is supposed to be high in the morning and gradually decline through the day, reaching its lowest point at night to allow deep sleep. Chronic stress flattens or inverts this curve. Cortisol stays elevated into the evening. Sleep quality degrades. And poor sleep, as we covered in a previous video, further impairs glymphatic clearance, accelerating the cognitive symptoms that were already present. Stress causes poor sleep. Poor sleep causes more cortisol. More cortisol causes more brain fog. It is a self-reinforcing loop, and most people caught in it don't realize they're in it. So what actually interrupts this cycle? The most evidence-backed intervention is controlled breathing, specifically protocols that activate the parasympathetic nervous system and directly lower cortisol within minutes. A 2017 study published in the journal Psychoneuroendocrinology found that slow diaphragmatic breathing, about 5 to 6 breath cycles per minute, significantly reduced cortisol levels and improved cognitive performance scores in adults under chronic stress. You do not need a nap. You do not need to meditate for 30 minutes. 5 minutes of slow, deliberate breathing interrupts the HPA axis response in ways that are measurable in blood chemistry. The second intervention is structured physical movement, not intense exercise during high-stress periods, which can temporarily raise cortisol, but moderate aerobic activity at consistent intervals. Walking, cycling, swimming. Research consistently shows that 30 minutes of moderate aerobic activity reduces inflammatory markers and restores healthy cortisol rhythms over time. The third is sleep consistency, which we covered in the previous video. Prioritizing the same sleep and wake time daily is one of the most direct ways to restore the cortisol curve that chronic stress disrupts. The fog you feel on your worst cognitive days is not random. It is not weakness. It is a hormonal and neurochemical response to a system under sustained pressure. Understanding that mechanism is the first step toward changing it. And the good news is that all three interventions require no prescriptions, no supplements, and no significant time investment. Just consistency, the full breakdown of what causes brain fog at a physiological level, including the other factors beyond stress that contribute to it, is in the article. Linked in the description below. Subscribe for the next video. See you there. This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your health routine.